Bilal Powell, and you're watching Dansports News.
No, Erkan, you watching Dansports News.
I'm Edwards, and you're watching Dansports News.
This is Gervonta, you're watching Dansports News.
What's up, everybody? Daniel Flores here, bringing you another episode of the Dansports News and Friends podcast. You can follow me on all social media at Dansports News to see all my latest articles and interviews. Today's guest is world-ranked welterweight boxer Mykal Fox, who has a record of 22-1 with 5 knockouts. Check it out. So have you been able to get in the gym, train, and spar with anybody so far?
Yeah, that's actually probably like the only reason I go out these days is to go work out. I've sparred about 4 times. I sparred about 4 times in about 2 weeks. You know, a couple of people have called. Boxing started back up. Boxing's back going on Top Rank and ESPN. So people have been calling me for sparring. So I've been able to help where I can.
Take me back to the beginning of your boxing journey. How old were you when you first got started in boxing?
When I first actually walked into a gym, I was 4 years old. I walked into Hillcrest boxing gym, and I went with my brother and my dad. They went with a couple of friends that they played football with, that my brother played football with, and me and my brother and I were the only ones we're probably the only ones still boxing of that little group that came in. And
you're from the Maryland area. Is that the Baltimore area or where exactly?
Well, I'm actually closer to a little closer to DC than Baltimore. So like Largo, Upper Marlboro type of area.
So who were some of the fighters that you grew up watching as a kid that really made you want to pursue a career in this sport?
Definitely Floyd Mayweather, Sugar Ray Leonard, Lamont Peterson. Well, both the Peterson brothers, Lamont and Anthony Peterson, DeMarcus Chop Corley, Keith Holmes, guys like that. That's what boxing is like the only sport I ever really gravitated to. So, and I think it's just watching them, of course.
And now I saw an old video. I think it was from 2005, but I think it was posted in 2008 on YouTube. You were fighting against Gervonta "Tank" Davis. What was that like, just going against him when he was really, really young as an amateur? How was that?
Well, he actually won that fight, but going up against him back then, like it was nothing. It was just a Saturday. It's another weekend, some more amateur fights happening, and we got matched up. And, we both fought. He ended up winning. But to see where he is now is amazing. And I mean, and I always see Tank around, shake hands. He's always very he always speaks very positive about me, and it's always good to see him.
And of course, he's from Maryland, like yourself. So was he somebody that you saw him a lot growing up, and did you realize he had, the potential back then to be the superstar that he is right now?
Well, yeah, kind of. It's just like as we were kids, to us it was just sports. We didn't. None of us. I don't think any of us really looked that far into the future. We were looking to the next local event. But we actually had fought 3 times, and the third time I fought him, I personally felt I won. And but that's the thing about that fight is. After the fight, me and Tank were friends, so he asked me, what you think about the fight? I'm like, bro, I ain't trying to be a sore loser, but I really think I won that fight. He said, I don't really think I won that. I think I lost it, to be honest. So we shook hands, but that's when I knew, like, as flashy as a guy that I'll probably see him as now, his work ethic has always been through the roof. So, he really has a passion for the sport. Sometimes people see him in the media and stuff, and only see when he's doing bad.
And your dad is your trainer, and also your brother is a pro fighter as well. What was it like growing up?
Mm-hmm.
What's it like growing up with your brother, who's also a fighter, and your dad training both of you guys?
Oh, I mean, it's always good to see, to have somebody who is who's right in there with you. We train alongside each other since we came into the gym. There was never a time we weren't separated. And being trained by our father, that always adds a different layer. That familiar layer is always apparent. It can't be separated. Your brother's in there fighting. I get nervous for him. I get more nervous for him than I do for myself. But that familiar bond is very strong. But it's work for the most part of both our careers. It's work. So we like what we are.
Is he someone that you spar with a lot and train with on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, we're always training together. We spar sometimes, but he still has a pretty big size advantage against me, so we can't spar live. Like, we can't spar our hardest. He's still a little too big. He's like a middleweight, super middleweight, and I'm just moving into welterweight. So that size difference is really apparent when he doesn't throw his hardest shot.
Tell me a little bit about your amateur career. I read on the Ring magazine, like, you weren't as good as you are right now in the pros as you were as an amateur. So just tell me about your amateur career.
Well, my amateur career, I mean, I just didn't take it nowhere near as serious as I take it now. I just for me it was just going there, being around it. I like being there, but I didn't like being when I'm in the gym. I didn't like what it took to be successful. All the extra work that your coaches don't have to tell you to do. I didn't do, and my amateur career suffered for it. But I turned things around as far as my work ethic. I turned things around when it was time to turn pro. I won my last couple fights as an amateur. My dad said we should just turn pro, and I think once I realized that there's a higher chance of getting hurt and whatnot, I was like, man, I need to step things up. Because a lot of people around this area thought I was crazy when I turned pro just based off my amateur background. But all it took was a few fights to make all of them believe it.
And when did you realize the right moment to turn pro?
I had just finished sparring. It was 2013. No, excuse me, it was 2014. I had just graduated the year before. I had just graduated in 2013. It was January or February 2014. I was sparring a pro fighter, helping him get ready for a fight because he needed a guy that was taller than him, a guy that was a southpaw. And we did like 10 rounds. We did 10 rounds. They were pretty even. We went to and I was getting ready for the Golden Glove. My dad told me, said, you don't really fight like an amateur. You fight more like a pro. Said you'll have an easier time just turning pro. And that's building you up, and you trying to learn how to fight like an amateur, then trying to learn how to fight like a pro when it's time to turn pro. Like, I just think you should turn pro. I said, if you think I can do it, I'll do it. And April 18th, 2014 was my first fight, my pro debut.
And how did it feel to go out there and get that first win under your belt?
Oh, it felt amazing. It felt really good. I felt it was a little bit of nerves, but those subsided like very early in the fight, and I felt comfortable. I felt at home, and I enjoyed seeing the guys that turned pro before me all giving me praise and everything. It was a great feeling. I just felt like this is definitely what I want to do.
Right, and your nickname is The Professor. Tell me about that nickname. Why did you choose that?
Mainly it just came from just basically. As you see, I wear glasses.
Right.
And I don't look. Yeah. Like, if somebody was like, my dad always asks me, what does it look like he does for a living? He's talking about me. They always think like, oh, is he an IT or something? Like, nah, I'm actually a professional boxer and world ranked now. So, the name just comes from the look. I wear glasses. I don't have what they say that fighters look. About me. But when I get in the ring, I know what I'm doing. I study my craft. I know what I'm doing in there. Very elusive, I try to be very smart in the ring as well. So, yeah. But basically that name just comes off of a look.
And you're 22-1, 5 knockouts. I'm sure you would like to improve the knockout rate. Is that something that you've been working on?
Yeah. When the COVID shut everything down, our gym got shut down. A buddy of mine, actually one of my clients, because I do boxing training for people, just for people who want a different workout. But he had his own gym, and they lift a lot of weights and whatnot. These got big guys or whatever. So after I would train them, I would jump into the workouts with them. Just trying to since I know no fights are coming up, I won't have to shrink down and cut any weight or cut any muscle mass right this second. So let me just try to put a little bit on. I feel like with my when the COVID shut down, I continued training clients or whatever. One of my clients had his own gym, so I would work out with them. They lift weights and stuff. So I was like, yeah, I'll lift a little bit of weights. Ain't no fight. There won't be any fighting for a while. So this is time to actually try to put on a little extra muscle. Okay, and then so my punches will be a little harder. And I worked on that. I actually gained a little bit of weight due to that workout regimen. But once I started my boxing training again, it all kind of came back off. And we did a lot of, the running, the cardio's back up. My boxing workouts are very, very strenuous. But I think that there will be some leftover results from that type of training.
You fought DeMarcus Corley, a guy who's a former world champion, as we know. He's fought guys like Floyd Mayweather, Zab Judah, I think Marcus Maidana too. A guy who's been boxing since like the mid-'90s and has almost 90 career fights. What was it like going against DeMarcus Corley and winning that fight?
Well, with that fight just came. The way that fight just came about was just honestly, I never thought I'd be in the ring with DeMarcus Corley, but it was crazy. It had a lot of buzz locally, just because the guy that I turned pro with, versus the guys he turned pro with, we're two different generations kind of going. It was a great experience. I was able to get a unanimous decision victory. But it's good experience to have under your belt. And it's a good name to have under your belt.
You have one loss in your career. It was against Errol Geshev. That fight went the full distance, 10 rounds. What do you think went wrong in that fight that you ended up losing that one?
I think in that fight, there was a lot kind of going on with not me personally, just with how the fight was handled. I feel like by the referee and whatnot. I think he got away with a little with too many. I think he got away with too many fouls. I looked at the punch stats. I landed more punches than him. I threw more punches than him. I made him miss a lot. I think looking back at that fight, personally, I felt like I won it. But when you're going up against the other, the A side, a guy, he has his promoter. It's their ring, their logo all over the ring and on the corner post and everything. I just need to be a little. I just need to be a little more decisive in fights like that. But I learned. But I learned from that fight, and I was able to be an Olympic gold medalist the very next fight. So I know if I could do that fight again, I would win for sure. Just because I would implement my game plan way better than I did.
Of course, I was going to ask you about that fight against Fazley, and how was that? Beating an Olympic gold medalist. I think he was a part of Top Rank. It was a big fight for you. How did it feel to bounce back and get that big win?
Oh, it was a great feeling. It was a great way to bounce back. Olympic gold medalist of the very last Olympic year that it just passed. So it was a great feeling. It really lets you know that especially after suffering your first defeat, that lets you know that that was a bump in the road. You come back and be an Olympian. You come back and be an Olympic gold medalist right behind your first and only loss. It was great. It was a great confidence boost.
And your most recent fight was in December. It's been now, I think, like 6 or 7 months that you haven't had a fight.
Yeah.
Is this the longest stretch you've gone in your career without a fight?
This is absolutely the longest I've been without a fight, without a doubt. Throughout my career, I've been fighting 3 or 4 months at a time. So this layoff, the only good thing about it is it doesn't worry me as much, just because a lot of people still haven't fought this year. A lot of people haven't fought this year, and there's some people who haven't fought since. Like their last fight was further back than mine, so things we're all gonna have to adjust. We're all gonna have to make things happen. None of us, we're all kind of in the same boat, so it doesn't worry me as much as it would if I'm watching a bunch of guys in my weight class press on, and I'm the only one not fighting. It would be a little more upsetting, but you can't control when a pandemic comes and goes, so we all have to deal with it. We'll all have to deal with being out of the ring. We'll all have to deal with being inactive. But I think I'll be able to adjust. And boxing's back, work back, moving, and I'm ready to fight again.
And of course, like some of the top fights aren't going to happen because of the travel ban. The guys who are overseas, we can't see some of those top matchups that we'd like to see. But of course, it's not going to happen until this is lifted.
Yeah. Well, there's money involved. Ticket sales and everything, that covers a lot of the big fighters. It covers a lot of their perks. When you can't have a big crowd there, a lot of fighters are just going to fight to stay busy. It's not going to be as meaningful of a fight, but people have to understand. Some people are going to give people a hard time. Like, you're not fighting anybody. There's no one, but it costs too much to fight those big names that y'all want. Big names get big paychecks, and if you want to see those big names, and you're not right now, you're not going to be able to see those big names in the ring because they won't fight if they're not getting what they're used to getting, which is fair. I mean, if it's in their contract to get a certain amount of money, they have the right to stand on that. I mean, I understand that, there's a pandemic and and COVID is running rampant, but, some people stick to their guns. Some people are willing to bend a little bit. It just depends on the fighter, the individual fighter.
And I'm sure that you've been watching, of course, the top-ranked boxing on ESPN. Is that something that you would be interested in doing, in fighting in a bubble situation the way it is?
Well, I'll do what I have to basically get back in that ring. If we have to, if we got to be in a bubble, I'll be in the bubble. That's what it'll take for me to fight. That's what it'll take me to do what I love. I absolutely do that. But it's actually we had scheduled this interview a couple weeks ago, but
right.
I actually got called for a fight August 8th.
Wow.
More details. I'll have more details for you soon, but I don't want to jinx anything, so I'll wait till I sign the contract and whatnot. But yeah, I'm just happy to have things back moving. So as soon as I've watched all but one of the top ranked cards, and people are still. My biggest worry right now is I feel totally fine. Don't get me wrong, I feel totally fine, but I don't want to go out and find out that I've been asymptomatic all this time, and that's a big fear of mine. But I'm going to go in the gym. I'm going to train. I'm going to train my hardest, and I'm going to hope for the best. But I've done all I can to remain healthy. I wear the mask. I don't know how some people feel. Some people feel differently about it. I wear my mask and everything. So I'm itching to fight again. I'm ready to fight again. Watching those cards, it gets you hyped. It gets you hyped to see Payne's back moving. To see Payne's back moving, it gets you hyped. You want to be a part of that, and that's where I'm at.
Well, I really hope you do get that fight. Hope everything works out with the contract. But what have you thought of some of the top-ranked boxing matches that we've seen? Is there anybody that you've wanted to fight, maybe that you've seen on TV so far?
So far, no, it hasn't really been anybody. I don't think it's really been anybody in my weight class if I can remember to hold everyone in the sport. But I like that, that they're taking a chance. Like they're adjusting to the way the world is now. Everybody watched the UFC and how they conducted themselves. Now everybody's gonna watch how ranked how they conduct the cards and everything. And I think it's still sad the way the world is right now, and how you want to fight for a crowd, you want to entertain. But as a fighter, my job is to fight. If there's a fight, there's money involved, I'll fight, and I'll fight in an empty warehouse. It just takes from the experience, the fight experience. I've been in arenas packed. I've seen Canelo fight in person. The atmosphere, that atmosphere is something that I think me as a spectator miss it. I miss it, but I'm like I said, this is the way it has to be right now. And so we adjust. We just adjust.
So has there been any fighters that have really impressed you that you've seen so far on the ESPN cards? I
like how Felix Verdejo got that first round stoppage. That's been very impressive. Jared Anderson, the heavyweight, he's very quick for his size.
He's the future, I think.
Shakur Stevenson too. I mean, he's operating at a way higher level, but I always enjoy watching him fight. So I'm just like I said, I'm a happy boxing back. I like it. I doesn't really at this point. It doesn't matter who's on the card. I'm down to watch it. Like Tuesday, I'm tuned in. Thursday, I'm tuned in.
Of course, same for me. I'm a big boxing fan. So as soon as Tuesday's on 8 o'clock, I'm tuned in watching it all go down. Jared Anderson.
Right.
Yeah, Jared Anderson, he's been really impressive. I personally think he's the future of the heavyweight boxing. Just 20 years old and already 5 knockouts in 5 fights.
He's definitely off to a great start. I don't want to rush into picking him as the next big guy.
Right.
There's still a lot of experience he'll need to gain, but he's with the right people, Jay Prince and Top, I believe Top Rank. So they'll take their time moving him. They'll have him take more calculated risks. The fighters will become more dangerous, but he'll gradually move up the ladder. That's the great thing about being a part of a big promoter and being a part of a big machine, that they have money to kind of invest into and take their time. And I think Jared Anderson is like I said, he's very quick for his size. I think that's going to help a whole lot. And he's surrounded himself with great fighters. Guys like Keyshawn Davis, Troy Isley, who were both, I think they were both set to turn pro this year. Keyshawn Davis is actually set to go to the Olympics this year, but we all know we know what happened with that. And then Troy Isley, who's from Virginia, very sharp fighter, who I've had the pleasure of being in the ring with. So Jared Anderson has surrounded himself with some great people to learn from. So I look forward to seeing what's next for him.
Now, you're super lightweight, but you said that you've moved up to welterweight. Tell me about that decision to move up to welterweight.
Well, the past year or so, it's just become a little more difficult to make 140. It's my body, my body's saying I'm 24. I'll be 25 in October. And being 6'4", almost 6'5", it's just getting difficult to shrink my frame. The frame I have, I'm already kind of a slim guy. I got to get way slimmer. It's becoming too much, and I decided we're gonna have to slide the weight up before I miss weight by like a lot, by 3 or 4 pounds. And that'd be the most embarrassing thing to happen to me for sure. I don't want to be labeled unprofessional. So we're gonna let our body. I'm just gonna let my body grow. We're not gonna fight. I decided we're not gonna fight it too much longer. I had hoped to get a regional title or something at 140 before I left the division, but with this COVID and everything, I feel like I've been away from fighting a little too long to still try to be able to make that weight. I can actually see, I can see in the mirror, and I was getting on the scale there, trying to maintain my weight, but my body's just holding on to more and more food and whatnot, and I can see myself getting bigger, widening out some. But I think I'll be at, if I can be successful at 147, I think I'll be at 147 for a very long time.
Welterweight, that's one of the biggest in boxing right now. You have Danny Garcia, you have Mikey Garcia, you have Errol Spence, you have Terrence Crawford, Manny Pacquiao. Who's somebody that you would like to go against in welterweight?
I think definitely. Being almost 6'5" is going to help me against all those guys. But I think guys like Danny. I would love to fight a guy like Danny Garcia. It's a big step. It's a big step up. It would do wonders for my career should I get the win. Any of those guys at that weight division. I feel like if I'm disciplined, and I fight to my game plan, I can be effective enough to win against any of them.
Virgil Ortiz, I read about that. What happened there with that fight, and is he someone you would still like to go against potentially?
I would definitely still fight Virgil Ortiz. Virgil Ortiz is a strong fighter. He has great skill. Has a great team behind him. He has great skills, and he has Golden Boy behind him. So I think a win over him would absolutely help my career. But I don't take anybody lightly. But it's good. Their fight, I got turned down. Someone on his team told him that a fight with me wouldn't be a good idea. So I take a little pride in knowing that someone sees me as a danger. Someone on his team sees me as a danger. But I still want to fight. I want to fight. Virgil Ortiz is like I said, he's a great fighter. I actually enjoy watching. He's a great fighter to try to test my skills. If I want to achieve all the things I want to achieve in this sport, he's the type of guy you gotta beat.
And we know that Danny Garcia and Errol Spence have something set up, probably in the late fall or early winter. What are your thoughts on those two guys fighting, since it's now your weight class, welterweight?
What's my thoughts on them fighting each other?
Yeah, what's your prediction? Who do you think has that better chance? Because Spence is coming back from the accident.
Yeah, Spence is coming back from that accident, but I mean, according to doctors' reports and whatnot, he didn't sustain too many serious injuries. Nothing that had him in a cast or had him in a wheelchair or anything. So it could be he could just totally be fine. But I think I know I would pick him before the accident. I know I definitely would pick him, but we would just have to see. Danny Garcia seems to be on his way back. He seems to be like he has his career a bit reinvigorated. Not that it was dying down, but he has a new motivation, and I think he's never to be taken lightly. Errol Spence does take some shots. Danny does deliver a nice hook, but I think I would still pick Errol.
So how many fights do you see realistically you having in this year?
And this year, one or two. Like realistically, one or two. It'll be August in a couple weeks. So the year, the clock's running out on this year. This year has been a doozy. This year has been really crazy, but this year has also been flying by. So I think 2 fights is like the most I can expect.
And do you expect your next fight to be in welterweight, or is it still going to be in super light?
No. I mean, this is definitely going to be a welterweight fight. It'll actually be my second welterweight fight. I've only fought as a welterweight once. This will be my second welterweight fight. But I think I'll, like, regardless of if I'm small for the division or not, skills always pay the bill. So I won't try to fight like I'm the biggest man at welterweight. I'll adjust to the weight class, and I still have to adjust to my boxing ability.
And what are the advantages and disadvantages of being 6'5", a boxer who's 6'5"?
Obviously the height. I control the range. Of course, my reach is like 77 wingspan, so I'll always have the advantage of height. I think the biggest disadvantage I have is really basically how the fight kind of looks on the outside. Me being taller than everybody, they automatically kind of expect me to just be able to overpower people, where some people are able to get lower and try to muscle their way on the inside. I have surprises for that, if they try that tactic too, but it's just how it's going to look to the judges. They'll look at it as this short guy is giving this tall guy a bunch of problems. Not really, but I got to make it look like it's not an issue.
Right. And my last question for you here, give me your top 5 boxers active pound for pound.
Active?
Yes, sir.
Probably Canelo, Terrence, got to put Lomachenko in there. I'll put Tyson Fury. Got to put Tyson Fury in there. And then number 5 would have to be probably Joshua. Well,
Mykal, I really appreciate you taking some time out of your night to do this interview.
I appreciate that very much. Thanks for having me.